Hey guys, what is up? And it's hard to believe it's been almost a year now since my last What's on my Android phone video. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at what I have on my new OnePlus 7 Pro. So with that being said, I also want to say that if you're interested in purchasing a OnePlus 7 Pro, make sure to check out my referral link in the description down below, and you can get a discount off of a brand new OnePlus 7 Pro for yourself. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So I guess to start this off, a good place would be the launcher, because that's kind of like the basis of the whole setup. And in this case, I'm actually using the stock OnePlus launcher. And if you've ever watched any of my past Android setup videos, you might have noticed that Nova Launcher has always been my go-to launcher, but I thought I'd give the stock launcher a chance. It's very clean, it's very minimal, which is what I like to go for in a setup, and it also has a lot of really nice animations that you won't find on other launchers. And before I jump straight into that first page, I want to mention the icon pack because I'm sure some of you guys are wondering about that. And that's actually the Borealis icon pack. So getting right into it with the first page, you can see I've got quite a bit of stuff going on here, but I try to keep it pretty clean for the most part. I only want to have the applications that I use super frequently. So getting started right up here at the top, I've got a widget right here, and this gives me the obvious stuff like the time, what day in the week it is, as well as just the date in general. And this is actually from the Europa pack for Zooper Widget. Now, I actually really need to mention that I've been using Zooper Widget for years, and I believe recently the app was actually removed from the Play Store, so I don't think you can download it anymore off the Play Store, but you can still download it if you just use like an APK, for example. I might switch over to another widget app, but for right now it seems to work for me, so I'm just going to continue using that. My second widget down here is also from the Europa pack for Zooper Widget. And what I should mention about the second one is that it's actually not just a default widget. I actually customized it by deleting some of the elements. So there actually used to be some information above this and below this right here, and I ended up just deleting that. Also added this like little pill widget on the right side. And if I tap on that, what it does is it takes me straight into the Google Discover feed. But yeah, this widget basically gives me access to my battery information because I actually hid that in the status bar just to make it a little bit cleaner, and I really don't need to know that because I can just swipe down to access it anyway. Moving on beyond that, I also have all of these folders down here. These are like my main stuff I use every day. I have Google, just for, Google applications that I don't have in my dock. I have Maps, which is an essential, obviously. I have Podcasts, which is the Google Podcast app. Definitely doesn't have a lot of features other podcast apps have, but it does have the necessary features that I like to use. I also have this shortcut, which is a shortcut to create a new note within Google Keep. So that's actually a cool feature in Android. I'm not sure if you guys knew about it, but if you tap and hold on certain apps, like for example Google Keep, you'll see these lists of shortcuts. And what you can actually do is if you tap and hold on a shortcut, you can drag it down and create an app to access that shortcut, which is really cool. Beyond that, I also have Google Docs, obviously another essential app, as well as Google Drive and Google Voice. Next to that, I've got a folder just for entertainment stuff. I've got some apps in here you guys might recognize, like iFunny, which is just like memes and stuff. You got Amazon Prime Video, you got Netflix. I got a few games in here as well. I don't really play that many games on my phone. If I was going to play a game, it'd probably be like Brawl Stars or like PUBG Mobile or something like that. I have Brawl Stars, Dream League Soccer, Altos Odyssey, Bullet Force, Fallout Shelter, Shadowgun Legends, Golf Blitz, and FZ9, I believe it's called Timeshift. I also have PUBG Mobile, which obviously is a very popular game. I'm sure you guys know all about that. Moving right along, we've got a folder just for photography stuff. Obviously, I've got my gallery in here. I've also got Google Photos for backing up photos, and Snapseed. Now, if you're not familiar with Snapseed, Snapseed is Google's own photo editor, and it's probably one of the best photo editors on Android I've ever used. It really is very powerful for a mobile editor, and I would highly recommend downloading it. It's completely free, so it's worth checking out if you do any kind of like photography stuff or editing on the go. I also have the Image App, which is Panasonic's imaging app I can use with my camera. And I also have golden hour. And if you're into photography at all, you probably know that certain times of the day, like when the sun's coming up or when the sun's setting, you have that really nice soft light, and you can see exactly when that is with this app. Shows you basically exactly when it's gonna start and end, so it's perfect if you're doing any kind of photography with portraits or anything like that. And finally, I have a photo editor called Polarr. Now, Polarr is a photo editor I actually originally downloaded on my Mac. It's actually fairly powerful, it's simple to use, and the reason I like the Android app so much is because it basically has all the same features you're gonna find on the Mac version. So if I wanna edit a photo on my Mac, I can do all of the edits on there, and then if I wanna edit the same photo on my phone, it's basically the exact same setup. So it's easy to go from one to the other and know exactly what you're doing, which is fantastic. The next folder I have on here is YouTube, which is obviously very essential. So in here I have the obvious stuff. I've got YouTube, of course, YouTube Studio if I want to do any replying to comments or anything like that, YouTube Music, and I have the Bitly app or Bitly app. This is basically just that link shortening app, and I can see statistics and stuff like that, shorten links, all that. And last but not least, we've got the social folder. So this is going to have all my social media stuff in it. Of course, I've got Discord, GroupMe, Duo, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. I'm sure you guys know all of those apps. And moving down to my dock, which has a lot of apps I frequently use. So starting off, I actually have the Play Store. Now, that might be interesting for some of you guys, but when I'm doing videos like the top Android apps, which by the way, make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in that, because I'm gonna be posting one of those soon. I like to be able to quickly get into the Play Store, check out any new apps I wanna see, if, look for new apps for upcoming videos, that kind of stuff. Moving on, I've got the usual stuff. I've got the Dialer app, and I have the Messages app. I also have, of course, the Camera app. That's obviously very essential, and of course, Google Chrome. Also, if I tap and hold and go to my wallpapers, you can see I'm using one of the stock OnePlus wallpapers, and these are live wallpapers that come with the OnePlus 7 Pro. I just like it because it adds a little bit more life to an otherwise very static setup. Just makes everything a little bit more interesting. Moving along to my second page, we've got a few things going on here. At the top, we've got this calendar widget, and this is from the month calendar widget. We've got some more of my frequently used applications. Starting it off, we've got Today Weather. Now, this has got to be my favorite weather app I've ever used on Android. I've used tons of different weather apps, and I always keep coming back to this one for a number of things. First, it's a very clean setup. It's not complicated to use. Everything's just on this one page basically, and you can just swipe up and down and see it, tap on it to see more information about those things. Simple as that. It's also got a lot of information, so I can see basically everything I'll need to know. And third, you can choose your own source for weather information. So right now I'm using AccuWeather, but there's actually other sources you can get your weather information from, which is great if you have a preferred one. When it comes to shopping, these next two apps basically cover all of my needs. I have eBay as well as Amazon. And that's basically it. This fourth app I have on here is called NordVPN, and like the name suggests, this is a VPN app. I feel like basically anyone should have a good VPN. VPNs are very helpful if you want to connect to networks that aren't secure. It can help with that. To the right of that, I also have the stock file manager application. Down here at the bottom, we have two applications I use for music. First one is, of course, Spotify. I'm sure you guys know all about that. And the second one is Pulsar. So I've used tons of different music player apps on my phone, but I always come back to Pulsar just because it's been very consistent for me. There's no ads. And yeah, that's basically all I want in a music player, and I can just transfer all of my MP3 files to my phone, and I have easy access right through there if I don't have internet. Google News is another app I use. I also have Reddit, which I occasionally use as well. And of course, the last app I have is called Mint. And if you haven't heard of it, it's basically a financial app that allows you to plan everything, monitor all of your financial stuff. And that's been very useful for me, even if it's not like the most exciting app in the world. And when it comes to apps, that's basically it. If I swipe over, I have a Gmail widget so I can access all of my emails and stuff. I don't actually have the Gmail app anywhere on my home screens. I just use this widget to access all my email stuff. If I swipe up, you can see I do have some other applications. They're just not as interesting and they're not as frequently used as the one on my pages, so I'm not going to go through all of them. But as you can see, if I scroll through here, these are all the apps I have on my phone. The last thing I want to mention before I wrap this up is some of the settings I use on my phone, and really the only interesting ones are under display. So as you can see right off the bat, I've chosen to go with the dark mode on my OnePlus 7 Pro, and I really like that because of the AMOLED display. It makes everything really pop and stand out. I've got the dark theme here, and then also for accent color, I've chosen to go with this first blue color. And that's just so it matches the back like nebula blue color on my phone. For the keyboard, I've also changed the Google keyboard to give me this gradient of dark to light blue, which also matches the nebula blue on the back, and I just think it really ties everything together. That's pretty much it. That's everything I've got on my new OnePlus 7 Pro. Hopefully you guys were interested by this, maybe found a few new apps that you think are worth downloading. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.